Hello, and good evening, and welcome to Story Time with Alex and Jacqueline. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. So I feel like it is, since it's, 9:00 at night on a Sunday, that we're about ready to, read bedtime stories to our children and get them prepared and ready for bed with a lovely discourse about Lumberjack basketball.
I mean, it is a school night.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Oh my God. You like my, I changed the background?
Yeah.
You just can't see it very well, but yeah, hold on. Let me see if you can see it better. Oh no, we'd have to go off of our, oh wait.
No, now I only see you.
No, okay. I don't know what happened. Okay. I was wishing there was a way to show everybody what the picture I have, the full picture, because it's pretty great, but I think it's funny. You can see two out of the four of us, our faces in the back.
Yeah.
Keller's kind of blocking you, and Keller's face is cut off, but oh well, it's okay. It's all good. All right, so I guess it is go time. Let's get to it. Let's start it off. Let's begin. All right. So, welcome to Pardon Me, Alex, the only Lumberjack basketball podcast on the air. We are going to have a dandy of a time talking to you about the SFA game at home in the Sawmill versus those dreaded Bearkitties of Sam Houston.
Quite a dramatic finish.
I am about up to here with dramatic finishes. Like they're fun, they're exciting, they're thrilling. And then, I walk away sounding like, a 35-year-old smoker, and, my stress level and heart rate is up to here and my blood pressure is up to here. Man, I just want a good old-fashioned shellacking, like a good old-fashioned win by 30 points, ain't have to worry about nothing type game. But
I know.
New conference, tougher opponents. What are we going to do? Oh, well. But damn, this game was just from start to finish, like the first half was decent, and then it just went kind of, I'm not going to say downhill, but it just kind of turned on its head and made it a lot more dramatic than what it should have been. But I will say it was almost, I don't know if I'm going to say 100% improvement from the first time we played them this season, but it was pretty darn near close. It was a lot better than the previous game, I will say.
Much, much better.
Much, much better. Much, 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 much. So this game was at home on Thursday, February 24th. It was a 6:30 game. It was actually also crammed the Coliseum, which we did have a decent little crowd, which Jacqueline will get to our attendance in a second. But yeah, so it was crammed the Coliseum night. They had a bunch of things going on, a bunch of I think they were doing like taco night and a few other things in the Coliseum. And so, like I said, for a Thursday night on a school night, probably one of the best crowds we've had all season. And again, we're just talking about the Sam Houston game. We're not talking about ACU on Saturday. So decent little crowd, good game, good energy. I was really, really pleased with I guess the attendance in the crowd that night. What about you?
It was okay. It looked better. Well, it looked better than I thought it was, but then also like we had more at the Lamar game last weekend. Oh, that was at Lamar. Never mind.
I was gonna say, I was like, what?
Well, I was just comparing it to the last game, and they had more there. But yeah,
but that was at Lamar. Yeah,
I know, but I just realized that when I looked at it.
It's okay. That's what I was like, what? Yeah, no, I think it was probably one of our biggest crowds of the season. So that's nice. It was good to see that.
Yeah.
Obviously, not as big as I had posted a picture on our Twitter from a late 2000s SFA Sam Houston game in the Sawmill, and that place was like SRO, standing room only. Had to literally get there an hour and a half, like right when the doors opened, to get a good seat in the general admission sections and stuff like that. Like people were having to basically camp out. I mean, I remember having to go to that game and literally getting there almost 2 hours before tip off because there was. You had to in order to get a seat, like a good, a seat in the student section, and it was just wild because that's just the culture that it was. But
yeah, just to put into perspective, we had more fans at the New Mexico State game, and we had about the same at the Grand Canyon game. So,
well, that's good.
Anyhow, could have been more. It was all right.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It could have been more. It was a good crowd. I mean, I feel like there was more students at this game.
Oh, definitely.
Than, you know what I mean, than all the others, and so that was good to see. And they were loud and doing stuff and yelling and cheering. So I mean, again, like I feel like we're getting back to where it used to be. We just haven't gotten there yet. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and start talking about the game. Without further ado, let's just hop right into it.
Okay, so Sam was 12-3 in white play going into this game. Our starters were the same as the last few games: Gavin, David, Calvin, Trell, and Diego. I don't know why I just said Nigel when I'm sitting here looking at it. I say Diego.
I was like, Nigel wasn't back yet. Not yet. Almost.
We did win barely 69-67. The attendance was 2,353. And we'll save the WAC standings for our episode tomorrow night over the ACU game. And quick little update for y'all. We're going to have a special guest tomorrow night. We won't tell you who. We'll keep it a surprise, but we'll be casting about 8 p.m. tomorrow night with our special guest.
Should we give like a hint?
Well, it's ACU, so think about that and who we might have on that would talk to us about ACU.
All right. That's a decent hint.
Big ass hint. Who would talk to us about ACU with a connection to ACU? And a connection to SFA.
Right. There's actually a couple people that could. But I mean,
there's two good guesses.
Go for it. We'll see if anybody can get it.
Yeah.
All right. So talking about obviously Jacqueline mentioned the standings. Yeah, we're not going to go over that because it wouldn't obviously pertain and make sense and line up with how the current standings are now compared to what they were on Thursday night after this game. So we're just going to talk about them tomorrow night because the standings are an absolute wackadoodle. I mean, Saturday was nuts. And so we're just going to, again, put a pin in that.
Because that'll be a fun combo tomorrow night.
Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, literally. Just wild conversations that we're going to have tomorrow. I'm excited for that. Okay, so moving into Sean Kennedy's stat section. Take it away.
All right, so our overall field goal percentage was 51%. Our three-point percentage was 42%. I'm pretty positive that's the highest it's been all season.
If not, it's going to be one of the highest.
Yeah.
I can do a double check real quick as you go through.
Gotta be. So we were 8 of 19 from the three-point line. We were only 45% from the free throw line, which I will say is absolutely abysmal. And if we would have done any better than that, it wouldn't have been as close. However, out of the only 9 free throws that we made, we did make at least 4 that were very clutch at the very end. So at least we made the ones that really mattered.
Yeah. Okay. So our free throw percentage was 42%, correct?
45.
Wait, where the fuck? Oh.
3-point percentage was 42. Free throw was 45.
Okay. So are you talking about 3 or 4th free throw?
Oh, three-pointer. Did we ever do higher than that or no?
For 3-pointer, that's what I was wondering. Okay. Yeah, we have for sure. Highest of the season is actually, if you want to go total overall whole season, including non-conference, our highest free throw percentage was going to be against Middle Tennessee, was 55%. And then if you want to talk about actual conference play, let's see here, 45. I believe it's Abilene Christian, 45%, I believe, is going to be our highest in conference play. Yeah.
Okay.
45 when we played them the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Points in the paint, we were not nearly as close to our mark as normal, 20, but I guess we kind of made up for it on the threes. Points off turnovers was pretty low with 11, but they only had 14 turnovers, so not just a whole lot of opportunities there. Second chance points, we had 20. Fast break points, we had 17. Bench points, we had 19. Total rebounds, we had 32, which they out-rebounded us by 4. We had 11 offensive and 21 defensive. We had 19 fouls, which they had 18, so about the same. 16 turnovers. Like I said, they had 14. We did have 7 steals and 1 block. They had 10 steals and 3 blocks. So our game leader was Gavin with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and a steal. We had Trell with 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. JJP with 11 points, 2 rebounds, and a steal. And I do just want to say that Day and Calvin each had 6 rebounds, so they were leading us on the rebounds.
Yeah. So going right into our feats of strength of the game. Couple things that immediately when I was looking over, especially the stats from this night, first of all, having 3 players in double digits is always a good thing. Obviously, we always want more. David was almost there with 9 points. But yeah, I mean, great job in the first half of that game. The first half of that game, we were up by 13 at the half. It was such a great first half, 41-28. We literally just came out of the door swinging for the fences and couldn't ask for anything more. That was just, again, the first half was such a huge improvement from the first time we played them when we only scored 12 points in the first half.
I mean, I think in the first half, we scored more than we did that entire first time we played them in the entire game, or close to it.
Let me go back and check. So the score for the first time we played them was 41-49, or 49-41.
Yeah, so we scored the same in the first half that we did the first whole game we played them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Which is a wild stat line. Wild stat line. And shout out to you for remembering the exact fucking score. Because I guess that's really not something you forget, the fact that we scored 12 points in the first half the first time we played them. Anyway, so like I said, came out of the gate swinging for the fences, absolutely just dogging them hardcore, defense in the paint, shooting threes. Trell, baby, was back for the 3 in a big way that night. Big way that night. He was, I think it was 4 for 6 or 3. 4 for 6 from with the 3. I mean, oh baby, it's just good stuff. Good stuff. You had 15 points during the whole game. Terrell was just on fire. Another guy that was on fire that night too, and in just maybe a little bit different way, was Jalen. He nailed a 3. He was 4 for 7 total. He had those 11 points. He had a couple assists thrown in there as well. Couple rebounds. He was just, again, kind of on all cylinders as well. So doing really well. There was a couple other good moments, especially, again, of course, Gavin with the high point of 18. He had a great Euro step kind of in the beginning of the game, just completely just blew by everybody, didn't even get touched. Euro stepped around everybody, sunk in the layup. Great move. already talked about the crowd, so I was really proud for the crowd. Again, 32 rebounds, 20 second chance points, just killing it. But of course, yeah, when we get to the points in the paint, I have, big grievance about that as well. Played so much better, just so much better than the first time that we played them. Obviously, yeah, they did come back in the second half and outscored us, but we did come away with the dub. It was a last second dub, and we fought hard for that one for sure. But yeah, it was just good game all around, exciting, very thrilling, probably too much thrilling, too much going on for my ticker, for my heart, and for my sanity. But what are you going to do? I mean, there's only so many more times that we're going to be playing Sam Houston in a conference matchup in the Sawmill. If we ever play them, in the future, it's going to be a non-conference, and it's not going to be this. I mean, it'll be the same, but it won't be the same because it won't be for any sort of conference bragging right. It'll just be non-conference. And so just like when we're playing Northwestern for non-conference ball, it feels the same, but not at the same time, So we only have so many games left with them in our conference as of now. And so it's very kind of bittersweet in a way, I guess you could say, the fact that, our time with them being in our conference and us being, conference rivals will always be rivals, but conference rivals is kind of dwindling. So that's kind of sad to think about in a way, but at the same time, I'm tired of dealing with Jason Hooten. So there's always a little plus to everything.
We'll look for the silver lining.
Silver lining is the fact I don't have to look at Jason Hooten's face very much longer. Because I don't know, there's just something about his face. It's very punchable. I don't know. He has his eyes bulge out of his head anytime he gets mad. And he literally gets on the court during the games and never gets called for anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, so that was kind of like a summation of my feats of strength. What about you?
I'm actually sitting here looking at it and thinking I probably have more positive items than we had points in the first half, the first time we played them. But anyway.
Another dig. Love it.
Have to say it. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Calvin's defense again this game was just so impressive. I just love the way he plays. And I think after every game, my dad and I have the same conversation that he is just just such a fun defensive player to watch because he never gives up. He's always there. He's always in the way. He's always causing something. I mean, and sometimes I feel like his stats don't necessarily reflect it. So for this game, he had 2 steals, but I can guarantee you there are at least 2 or 3 where he may have caused the deflection for someone else to get a steal or put on the pressure or whatever. So,
agreed.
Fun to watch.
Agreed. Great point. I agree.
Yeah, Trell with that 3 right at the beginning. First of all, I knew we were off to a great start. And then, like we talked about in the stats, 4 of 6. That's back where we're going to see him with the 3-point stats.
100%. 100%. Especially when he hit that in the very beginning of the game, I knew that his day was going to be great because that just started it off on a great foot. And I knew he had been struggling from the 3. Well, we both knew he'd been struggling from the 3, and it was kind of frustrating for him because you can kind of just see it on his face. Yeah, and so him hitting that 3 at the very beginning and then seeing that smile, he was ready, juiced, ice in his veins. He had ice in his veins that game. So happy.
Yeah, he was ready to go. Like we've already said, we got such a hot start. I was so excited. I wanted us to just put it to them as best we could, giving them a chance. Don't even let off the gas. So great start. David got a great three at the beginning, got 2 in a row. I was he's on fire from the 3 too. Not as great the second half because he ended up 3 of 9 from the 3-point line, but those first 3 were great. And you know what? When you're hot like that, you got to just keep taking it. So not disappointed about that. JJP got a huge 3 too. So yeah, we were really looking good. I was very happy with that 42% 3-point percentage. Day got a great putback dunk. I mean, we've talked about him multiple times, but he's so fun to watch too because he just never gives up. And I mean, he put up some good stats that game too: 6 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Diego got a beautiful assist to Day for a shot in the paint that he took, which was really beautiful. Sam Houston had no threes the first half.
Oh, yeah.
Love to see it. Trell took a giant charge, like giant.
He put his body on the line for that. I'm glad you remembered to say that. I forgot to put that in my notes as well. He majorly put his body on the line for that.
Like such a huge charge. I mean, he went flying.
You did.
Thank God he was not hurt. And then he, had
you were struggling with your eyeball. What is going on?
In my eye, and I can't get it out. Probably because I didn't wash off my makeup last night because I was lazy. And then Trell had, some great clutch threes. I mean, free throws. Oh, I said threes. So
I would just like to also reiterate,
Trell and Day with the clutch.
Oh, yeah. Of course. So I would like to reiterate the differences between our first game when we played them, our stats, and the differences and similarities. Let's just say that. So the differences and the similarities between the first time we played them and then, of course, on Thursday. So when we first played them, our field goal percentage was 26.3. So compared to 51.
Doubled.
3-point percentage was 12. 42 this past time.
Over tripled.
Yep. Free throw percentage was 66. That was the only one that went down.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a very wild similarity. Our points in the paint, the first time we played them, 24.
Yeah, they definitely know what they're doing on not trying to let Gavin get a shot in the paint. So.
Oh yeah, they definitely know what they're doing for sure. Points off turnovers was 11 first time. Same this time.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay. Bench points were 10. Bench points 19. And then fast break points 7. And then this time 17. A lot of eerie similarities. I will say, though, that the difference other than that was the points in the paint the first time around for the Bearcats was 18. And this time it was, 42. So that's also a major difference from the first time that we played them.
Their threes weren't falling, so they were having to take it.
Exactly. Exactly. That first time around,
they basically shot our 3-point percentage from the last game this game because they had only 15%. So.
Right. That first time, Savion Flag, he had 3 3-pointers. This time he had 0. He was 0 for 3 on 3-pointers. 0 for 3. So just some key differences from the first time that we played them, till now. I mean, if you look at our results list, I mean, since we played Seattle U and took that L in Seattle U at the end of January, we have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know what I mean? Like 8 games in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row. We haven't looked back. So hottest team in the WAC right now. Fucking killing the game.
Oh, I missed one more of my good point. Sorry.
Sean.
If we beat New Mexico State University, I may sprint down Far West Boulevard in Austin in a velour Speedo.
Not just any Speedo. A velour Speedo.
What color is said velour Speedo?
If it's not purple, then I don't want to see it.
Yeah, if it's not purple, we don't want it.
Straight up. Just not gonna. What was your other good note before we move on?
And I've talked about this several times the last few times, but about Calvin playing more offensive minded, and he made 2 shots this game that I was super impressed by because usually when he's thinking offensive minded, it's still just like little putbacks or stuff like right there at the rim.
Right.
But but he took one shot at the elbow, like almost to the 3-point line, and then he took one like just straight up from the almost to the top of the key, but more kind of like at the free throw line. And I was like, look at Calvin taking these like outside shots.
I mean, he's showing some range.
Oh, come on, man. Purple, Sean says. Good.
It better be purple, Sean. Otherwise, again, don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. All right. So moving on to your favorite section. We call it the...
With the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it. You.
All right. So, just because we won, which again, so happy, ecstatic, can't say it enough, doesn't mean there weren't a few things that we just have to talk about that just weren't that great. First and foremost, the frickin' points in the paint. Again, they stuffed us with these damn points in the paint. Again, I'm not surprised because, you know, they were playing some really good defense down there in the paint, but Jesus. Usually if we don't have good points in the paint, we are not winning the game. So very, very, very thrilled that our points were coming from other areas of the court because we were getting just absolutely demolished down there in the points in the paint. But what are you going to do? So disgusting. Again, they had 42, we had 28. And normally when it's below 30 like that, we're most likely not going to win.
Yeah.
Because we rely heavily on Gavin down there, Calvin, Day, all those guys down there getting those points in the paint. And we just weren't coming. Man, we got outscored in the second half. Like, we were cruising 41-28 going into halftime. Go into halftime, come out, and they just come in and outscore us 39-28 in the second half.
Well, and the thing is, the wheels really didn't start to fall off till like 8 minutes left.
Right.
And we led by like 17 at one point. So I was just like, what are we doing?
Just all of a sudden, I don't really remember. I can't really pinpoint, and you may have because you rewatched it.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you what we did.
I was like, can you pinpoint the exact moment when the wheels changed?
So we let them get a dunk to get back within 8 points. So they took a double-digit lead with a dunk.
I remember that.
And immediately the next possession let them get a back door to get within 6. And then it was just all downhill from there.
Okay. Yeah. And you know what? And I remember that vaguely happening during the game. And I was sitting there and they were getting a lot of juice and energy on their sidelines. And like their few fans that were there as well were starting to get a little bit louder. And I was like, no. They're not coming back into this game. And then, of course, they come back into this game. And then we had to literally duke it out until the end of the game. And then, of course, you know, we all know what happened there with Jalen, which we will talk about. I have it in my notes to talk about. Even though Flag didn't have any threes, he still had a double-double, 13 points, 13 rebounds. Still one of the best players in the league. Can't deny it. He's a great player. He's a physical dude. He's a big dude. He's also a big flopper. So there's that.
Unfortunately.
Huh?
Lots of the good players are, unfortunately.
That is a fact. Oh my God, man. Our free throw percentage was just not the best. I mean,
hot garbage.
Just
yeesh. Like, we shouldn't even be below 60, but below 50 is just not acceptable. It's not acceptable. You got to at least make half. If you're playing D1 basketball, like at least half.
Yeah. That I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. I mean, gave in 2 from 7. For some, like, usually he's been really good with his free throws, you know, pretty decent. If not 100%, you know, maybe 8 of 9, or his free throws were hot garbage. He was 2 of 7. Then Terrell was 3 of 4, which is fine. You know, expect a couple misses here and there. We didn't have a lot of free throws. I mean, we only had total of how many did we have? 20. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like there were a ton, but just the ones that we had, just not all of them were falling.
I mean, we had more free throws than they did. They only had 15.
Interesting. And we had 19 fouls and they had 18 fouls. So it was still pretty evenly called, even though, again, sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but here we are.
I don't know what happened with his free throws that game, and I
don't know either. Like I said, he's been doing.
Yeah, I was laughing when you said that because Dad made some comment. I can't remember if it was after that game or after the game on Saturday, because I feel like he didn't do too well Saturday either. He kind of bricked several.
He did.
And Dad was like, he was like doing well in his free throws at the beginning of the season, and he's like, I don't know what the deal's been the last like few games, and he's like, I just don't know how you. Well, I mean, it's just Dad being Dad, but he's like, I don't know how you brick 2 in a row off the front of the rim. He's like, I mean, I don't know, like whatever you're doing is not working. Like maybe just try to bank it off the backboard on the next one.
I don't know. I mean, a blind squirrel's going to find a nut once in a while, for God's sakes. I mean, you know.
Obviously, I don't know. Some breakdown has happened where there's a struggle. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't just him. There was a bunch of guys that were bricking free throws this game and the last game on Saturday. So I don't know. Just who knows? I'm not quite sure, but hopefully they kind of clean that stuff up before these last 2 games here. Oh my God! Whoever elbowed Trell in the freaking face, I'm coming for them and cutting them.
Yeah, we told him that after the game, very vehemently.
Told him during, told him after. Said, give us their name, give us a description of the assailant, and we will. You don't make my boy bleed his blood, man. You don't mess with Trell. That is my dog. From now until he's gone, that is my dog. That is my G. And you don't make that man bleed his own blood, because we're gonna have words. We're gonna have words. Okay. Just throwing that out there. So you've been warned, Whack.
Yeah. You've
been warned. Let's see. Yeah, and there were a lot of elbows and hand checks and some just really aggressive ball play. I mean, not necessarily aggressive is the word, but like there were a lot of hand checks and there were a lot of elbows and push-offs and things that just weren't being called. And I don't know if the refs are just letting them play, or they just, again, were missing them. But, there were a bunch on Saturday too. So I don't know, just something about these last couple of games where they were calling hand checks on one end, but then not calling them on the other. And then, I don't know, just not being super consistent with those. And then I was kind of disappointed that we only had 1 block the entire game. It felt like there was more, but I guess there wasn't. We only had 1.
I know. I agree.
And it was Calvin. Thank you, Calvin.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I was really kind of unimpressed with that stat line. I was just really kind of shocked that we only had 1. So it's a grievance for me. Also the double tech between Cal and I'm assuming Javion.
Javon or Javion, maybe.
Javion. Yeah, Javion May. It was a double tech between those two. And I don't really know exactly what happened. Were they jawing at each other? On the rewatch, did you notice?
Yeah, whenever I rewatched it, so they got tied up. Like it was called a tie ball, but I think Calvin was expecting a foul call on it. But it didn't really look like they tussled that much. It kind of just looked like a regular tie ball situation. So they must have both kind of said something afterwards.
Had to, because that's what I noticed too. I was like, I didn't think that they were tussling that aggressively or that vehemently towards each other.
But then the officials went and watched it back on the film. So I guess they were trying to look to see if they did anything additional, but then they still called it. And I couldn't really tell that there wasn't any major like scuffle because Calvin.
There weren't swinging or
So I don't know. They must have both kind of said something, or I don't know.
Had to have.
After watching the bald-headed ref, I'll praise these refs from Melvin Bryan. He was decent.
The bald-headed ref from this game, Sam Houston, or from the one on Sat? Because to be fair, there's a lot of bald-headed refs that we get. So
I know we have almost all bald refs, really. that doesn't really narrow it down too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few questionable decisions though lately from the refs. I mean, yeah, for the most part, they try to do as best they can, call a fair game, but there may have been a few calls during. I don't know if it was necessarily this game. Oh yeah, you're talking about ACU's game. Okay. Yeah. There was we'll talk about that one tomorrow, but yeah, there were few calls during that game that wasn't 100% on board with, but so is life.
We'll get to that.
we'll get to that. So yeah, a few final things. Well, I guess you'll do yours first, and then I'll talk about the two game notes that I would like to bring up about the end of the game. They're not necessarily grievances; they're just points of discussion.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So y'all know how much I do love Calvin, and this is kind of gonna be a like sandwich of good and bad, but. Yeah. So he had the most turnovers on the team, and I hadn't even looked at the stats yet when I made this note, but he just had several like errant passes into the lane where he either straight up passed it to someone on the other team or just didn't make a very strong pass, and I got very easily picked off. And so he had 7 turnovers. That was the most on the team by 3.
Ooh, yeah.
However, he had 6 assists, which was the most assists on the team. So I guess I kind of have to say it's one of those, it's a give and take. Like he is thinking more. So I think it's gonna, keep trajecting upwards because he is getting more offensive minded and he's looking to try to make good assists. A few of them were just he was making too big of a reach.
Yeah.
And
I also think that also comes from just rushing. Like I feel like a lot of times they're not playing at their pace. They're trying to, like that. They need to control the pace of the game. And so if
it wasn't even
like they weren't even, I feel like sometimes they're rushing and they just aren't paying attention.
Well, yeah, that, but it wasn't even that on these. I think it was just he's getting into a more offensive mindset, and so he's trying to do too much on some of the plays. There were some of them where it was just like, it's a great idea, but wasn't really feasible. Like you're trying a little. But I mean, you know what? I'm glad he's looking. The assists almost outweighed the turnovers.
Almost cancel each other out.
So I have faith that's gonna. He's gonna.
Oh yeah, I'm not
those few.
I'm not worried about Calvin one bit.
Let's see. Okay, we got several backdoors, but I have a few that I'm going to mention specifically. And okay, hold on. What is our?
Tell me, and I have it pulled up. Just tell me.
What is our new trainer's name this season?
Oh, Jacoby.
Jacoby. Okay, so Jacoby's dad, sits over there and yells the whole game because he's always saying exactly what is correct. And it was funny because that's one of the few games that moms came to this season, and she was like, "Who is that man over there who yells all the time?" And I was like, "Oh, it's our trainer's dad." And she was like, "I don't know how he can yell like that the whole time, but they really needed to listen to him because he kept saying, 'Watch the back door,' and then they'd get a back door." And I didn't even realize how many they had until I watched it back. But I mean, they literally had like probably 4 or more. But anyways, one of them we got because we were too focused on trying to take a charge in the lane, and someone swooped right in the back door. They got a huge backdoor alley-oop dunk literally right out of the half. I'm like,
oof.
What did y'all just talk about in there? You're going to come right back out and let them get an alley-oop dunk backdoor.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Yeah, there were just multiple of them. Then my complaint from earlier, which was just the downward spiral of losing our steam whenever we let them get that dunk to get back with an 8. And that's just, I mean, a dunk to break a double-digit lead really gives the crowd and the team more hype and juice to get moving. And then that's when we let them get another backdoor to get within 6. So that was most of my complaints.
Okay, so those are most of your complaints. Let me bring up the 2 points of I guess discussion that I would like us to talk about. So the first one was the final possession on our end controversy. So was with Jalen with the kind of falling over kind of chunk a 3, was there contact? Was he shooting? The people have been saying back and forth on social media. What was it? Was it a foul? Was it not a foul? Et cetera, et cetera. So, rewatching the game, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he was shooting.
No, not that. I guess not that. I know he was shooting. That's what other people were saying. But was it a foul? In your opinion?
Here's the thing. Was it probably a foul? Yes. However, Dad did say, he was like, I was surprised they called it because usually they're not going to make a call like that close to the end of the game that's going to decide the game. Like, it's going to have to be really egregious. But, same little debate over our 4-point play from years ago.
100%. I'm glad that you brought that up too, because I feel like that's a very similar situation where it's like, was it a foul? Was it not a foul? Was it, more of just, I think for me too, for Jalen, it was definitely situational awareness where, it's the end of the game. You have the ball in your hand. You have almost what it's going to be the last shot of the game to try and win it or go into OT or whatever it needs to be. And you got a guy coming for you. You might as well just throw it up there and maybe potentially get fouled. Yeah. Might as well just try, and I think that was more just situational awareness and just almost just luck of the call that they called it a foul. Was it 100% a foul? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we've saw other things that were more egregious during the game that probably should have been called as a foul, under the rim and things like that weren't called, and they were way more obvious and egregious. But yeah, so Melvin's saying Gavin should have been shooting 2. So the foul at the rim, that is what I was saying too, is that the foul at the rim before that was the one that should have been called.
Yeah.
With Gavin shooting the 2, and which I would agree with. And then that was not called, and then we got the ball, obviously rebounded back, and that's when Jalen did his 3-point attempt, Well,
and that's what I said to Dad. I mean, part of it could have been a semi-makeup call.
Makeup call, exactly. And I mentioned that on Twitter. I said I really think it was part of it a makeup call. Was there a little contact there? Absolutely. Would this in any normal circumstance be called a foul? I would say 50-50, depending on.
Hard to say. And it was honestly
hard to say.
Hard to tell from the angle of the camera because he was on the other side of the 3-point line. So I mean, the defender was running at him, and you were looking at it from the back. So it's really hard to tell.
Completely. So yeah, I mean, again, what game's over. Not much you can do about it. You can't go back. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I mean, again, I think it was more situational awareness from Jalen. The fact that there was no call under the basket when Gavin should have been shooting 2. And then that play would have never happened. And so, again, just being heads up and knowing exactly what was on the line and knowing that you had the potential of getting fouled on that 3 shot.
Okay, hold on. If I can move my camera enough, y'all have to see this. Hold on. Let me see. Do you see him back there? Oh, I wish I could get closer because the face he's making is great.
Cats are wild. Cats are wild. Hey, if I fits, I sits. I'm telling you. All right, so that was number 1. Number 2.
That's the motto.
Number 2, post game after the celebration, all the guys. Oh, where'd you go, dude? Oh, there you are. You went away for a second. Oh,
I was like, I'm sorry.
It went black. Okay.
Who knows?
All right. So post game, after all the hubbub celebration, all the guys were yelling, cheering, what, all the fun stuff. Post game handshakes line. There really wasn't one. Literally, it was.
Okay. I missed that completely somehow. But Dad asked me after the game, did I miss, because you know how he usually gets up and bolts as soon as it's over.
He does.
That one was such a nail biter, like he was still in his seat. And he was like, have I missed something? Like, do they not do the handshake line anymore? And I was like, not that I know of. Why?
So I don't know where your eyesight was, but during this, it was very obvious. The Bearcats were coming to do handshake line. Our coaches went and did handshake line. David did, and I think one other dude. All the rest were still over celebrating, okay? And then a few of them were starting to walk over to actually get into the handshake line, and then literally thought against it, did one of these fuck nah things and went back to celebrating. And then that's when they started kind of coming together and like jawing back and forth. And then a lot of the coaches and stuff had to push the Bearcat players like out and like up the tunnel to get away because they were starting to come and like.
So and our guys weren't going to go and they started talking about that.
I don't know who started talking first. I just know that what I saw was a few of them walking over and Jonathan being one of them. And that's why whenever I was yelling, I was like, Jonathan, major props. Like, I don't care. I really don't. I thought it was hilarious. He's literally doing one of these things. like he was doing that. And I was laughing so hard. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to come up later. It's controversial because obviously they didn't go in the handshake line and people are going to see it as bad sportsmanship, but man, I'm laughing. I don't give a fuck. It was funny.
So
but
I'm going to have to watch the end of the game again and see if it records that long, but I think they usually cut it off before that.
They may have cut it off. They may have.
Just so out of my mind that it came down to that I was just not paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, it was a split. It honestly was like a split thing, maybe like 20 seconds. I mean, it was really quick. I mean, like I said, David was on the handshake line, and I think one other player on our side was actually going down the line and doing handshakes, and then everybody was like turning to go back up the tunnel, the Sam Houston guys. And then again, some of our guys started to walk over, and like a few of them like got there and was starting to like do hands. And then I think someone said something, I don't know on whose side, but then it just started everybody started kind of converging, and you could see the coaches going, no, no, no. And like a couple of the Sam Houston coaches said something, and then like something else. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I literally in my head, just literally all the scenarios were going through. I'm like, oh, fuck. They're going to have a freaking rumble in the middle of the court. I'm going to have to run out there because somebody's trying to go after my boys. And then I'm going to get in trouble. Like, yeah. So then as soon as I said that, and then I don't know if you heard me, I said, oh, yeah, hell yeah, Jonathan, you tell. Like, I don't know if you heard me.
That's when I clued in that something happened, but I missed it.
Yeah. I was like, mad respect, Jonathan. You get out there and talk shit. I was just like, hell yeah, boy. I was like, oh, you gained some respect points for me. And then when he came through the handshakes and hugs from us, I literally hugged him. I said, yeah, you better talk shit to those Bearcats, boy. And he started laughing. So, yeah, I mean, again, Melvin exactly sounds like a rivalry. It is a rivalry. I don't care if they're going to be in Conference USA. I don't give it. They're still, even though they won't be in our conference and be conference rivals, they will always be our rivals. Baby girl, Caitlin. Yeah, we would have jumped down there so fast.
We sure would have.
Immediately. I would have pulled out my brass knuckles and went to town. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about that situation? Like, do you think that it would have made more of an issue if they did do handshake line and were jawing back and forth? Or do you think it was maybe smart for them just to like think twice and turn around without it becoming a bigger thing? I don't know.
I think that's got to just be a heat of the moment call because sometimes if they're just being a little bit shitty and you can be like, yo, dude, just like take your rations and get in line. But if something's said to immediately throw it off, then
that's my concern too, because I just had a feeling if it was already chippy, like during the game, which it kind of was. I mean, there was a double tech, there was other things going on. Sometimes I almost think that yeah, you want to see the sportsmanship and do the handshake line afterwards. But sometimes it's hard for teams, especially big rivals, to like take the loss and take the lickings and just walk away.
Well, and then like I said, I think it just depends on what was said or what exactly happened. Because just a week or so ago, Juwan Howard had his issue in the after game line, and it's like
exactly.
Thing is, what sucks, Dad and I were talking about it. I mean, absolutely, he should have gotten at least a couple games suspension because he put hands on somebody. However, the coach from the other team first came to him and pushed his hands on his chest, and Juwan was trying to I'm not engaging, and continued walking down the line. And then the next dude's going to say something to him, and that's when he flips his lid and smacks the guy. And I'm like, well, the guy who started it and put hands on first should have gotten a game suspension. He didn't get anything.
He got fined.
Yeah, but he didn't get suspended any games.
No, I know. I honestly, though, I think that whole situation is very subjective too. Like, I don't think that there's a right. I know, because I see it maybe just a little differently too, because I feel like the Wisconsin coach was trying to just say, hey man, just good game. I mean, yeah, he didn't necessarily have to touch him, but I don't think it was more of a malicious intent thing either.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not ever a kind motion.
I just don't remember him doing this though. I don't remember
He pushed him in the chest.
Oh, yeah. I guess I have to rewatch this. I don't remember watching it and seeing him push him in the chest.
The thing is, I won't go on a whole tangent, but Juwan Howard was mad. And the reason that he was mad doesn't
I know he was mad is because of the way that the game was going.
Well, no, but what he got mad about at the end was them calling a timeout at a specific time because he thought they were trying to drag it out farther and he was getting beat or whatever, which...
Yeah, I mean, but you're getting beat.
Doesn't even matter. But anyways, they knew that he was pissed about the timeout and they should have just not said anything. So the guy just stirred up shit and made it worse. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like they both were in the wrong for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so point of the story. I mean, at least we didn't have something like that.
To be fair, I'm ready for just a good old fucking brawl, to be honest with you. It would bring me back to my college days of brawling in the stands. So
we don't want any game suspensions right now. So
no. I'll take the brunt of it. I'll take the game suspension. I'll put that on my shoulders. But yeah, so just interesting. Again, rivalry game. Things are heated. Things are crazy. What else is new? So is life. Anytime we play the Bearkats, doesn't matter what sport it is, it's always going to be freaking wild. Which brings me to our one word to describe the entire game. Jacqueline, I don't know what you were thinking of, but I'll just go with mine. My word is rivalry. It's a rivalry, man. It's going to be heated. It's going to be emotional. There's going to be a lot of tempers flaring. There's going to be a lot of jawing back and forth. And it's going to be always dramatic in some way, form, or fashion. When we first played them, we looked like absolute dog shit. It was depressing. It was dramatic in the fact that it just was didn't even look like the same team went onto that court. It was the wildest game I've ever seen from the Lumberjacks in 10 plus years. It was just a wild game. And then we got this time where it was a completely different team in a good way. And then we have end of the game theatrics and drama. So, I mean, what else is new? It's a rivalry. It's going to be crazy every time. Doesn't matter if it's going to be in conference, out of conference. Rivalry is rivalry.
Yeah, no, that's the best really word to describe it. And I guess mine kind of aligns with that, but just would be trade-off because any rivalry, I feel like it's just a complete trade-off. And it just, that is the definition of a rivalry. You can play your rival on their home court and have a terrible, terrible game and then come to your home court and you win. I mean, granted, we still had to scrape by for it, but I feel like it's always going to be a trade-off. Your best opportunity is going to be that home court advantage. So thankfully, I
agree. Yeah, I agree. And is it really truly a rivalry when you have one team constantly winning? And just dominating the series, you know what I mean? I feel like it's not necessarily a big rivalry when it's just one team dominating the series constantly. and then the other team's just kind of like shit. I feel like it's more of a rivalry when both teams are, like you said, trading it off back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, yeah. Totally agree. Wild stuff. Man, gotta love it. So, obviously, normally at the end of this, we would tell you what games are coming up next, but we already had played the last home game, which was on Saturday at AC, or at home, not at ACU, versus ACU. And we were really, really, really excited for this game. It being the last home game, senior game, blackout, tailgate, and then it ended up being all of that plus a lot of cold, rainy crap, mud.
Yeah.
But it was still a good weekend. And we are excited to talk about that one tomorrow, especially with our special guest, who is very special.
He is very special.
Oh, you said he.
I mean, they already knew it was going to be. The two guesses are both he's.
Well, it's true, but I get it. Yeah. Okay. I guess so. Yeah. Okay. So moving forward, again, do not forget to support the Purple Lights Fund, making sure that you give money, give time, give whatever you can, and help support our Lady Jacks and Lumberjack teams. Also, make sure that you are supporting. There are multiple ways you could support SF Athletics. Obviously, Purple Lights Fund, that's one. You could also drink Fredonia beer. Anytime you buy a Purple Lights beer, specifically, none of the other ones, but you could drink those too. But anytime you buy and drink a Purple Lights beer, you're actually supporting the SFA Athletics as well as Fredonia Brewery. But obviously, Purple Lights is the SFA beer, so you'll be supporting SFA Athletics. And then, of course, you can always support SFA Athletics by purchasing your MyPlates. If you go to www.myplates.com/lumberjacks, you can get yourself a $50 rebate. Get a personalized background plate and put it on your car with pride, or you can always get just a background only non-personalized plate. Get it for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year terms, and you could do a layaway option. There's a lot of options out there. So again, make sure that you buy your MyPlates for your ride. Easy, fun way to support your Jacks. Drink Fredonia beer, Purple Lights specifically for the SFA fans out there. And, of course, support athletics by joining Purple Lights Fund, buying season tickets. Even if you don't live in Texas or nearby, you can still be a Purple Lights Fund member, support the teams, and support SFA. Oh, man.
Lots of ways to support there.
Lots of ways. All right. Anyway, so tomorrow, plan is, again, to kind of go live like around beer. Yes, beer. Yes, beer, Dennis. All the beer. Buy all the beer. Oh, man. Yeah. So tomorrow, maybe around 8 o'clock-ish, I guess, give or take, we will let everybody know exactly what time we will be going live to talk about the last home game in the Sawmill for the Lumberjacks against ACU and all the fun stuff that we did that weekend or this weekend on Saturday. Stuff on Friday. Had a lot of things going on. So hope you guys are ready for that one. The season is winding down. And then moving forward, we have 2 more games, both away to end the season or the regular season. One matchup in Las Cruces at New Mexico State, and then down south at UTRGV.
It'll be a tough little road haul.
I mean, those are like complete opposite ends. You got New Mexico, and then you have all the way down in the Rio Grande Valley. So that's quite a turnaround trip. That's gonna be tiring.
Yeah, they're gonna be on the road a lot coming up the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then of course, as soon as those are done, I mean, we'll be in Vegas. Holy moly. Are you excited for Vegas, Jacqueline?
I think so.
You think so? Babe, you better be ready.
Oh, I got to mentally prepare myself.
So we are, for lack of a better term, popping Jacqueline's cherry when it comes to Vegas.
First timer.
She's a first timer. I'm a multiple timer. So, yeah, she's going to have a good time. We're going to make sure she has a good time. There's a lot of fun things we have planned, some things that are already planned for us that we weren't aware of. But all in all, it's going to be a really fun time. So we're leaving. If anybody else is planning on going to Vegas, please let us know. We would love to meet up with you, and especially those from other teams too, from other schools. We would love to meet some of the people that are following us and, you know, that we're following each other on social media. We would love to meet you guys, get a drink, etc., hang out in Vegas. I feel like this is like the best opportunity to do that because all the teams are coming together except for 2, 3. And so we're really excited. We're staying at the Link Hotel, which is right there on the Strip. It's, you know, kind of sort of nearby the Orleans. I mean, we didn't want to go too far, but we also wanted to stay on the Strip for Jacqueline's first time. And then we're coming in on Wednesday afternoon and staying till Monday. So we'll be there for a few days.
Got a plan to stay for the long haul.
Yeah. So we're staying there for a few days. Excited for that. Really are pumped for that. And then, of course, you know, the ladies are killing it. They're going to be number 1 seed. They'll be there. We'll, you know, make time to still go to see the ladies play as well. That would just obviously make sense because they're playing at opposite times. And so it'll be perfect to see them play. And, you know, they'll be, like I said, first seed. And so, man, they've been rocking and rolling. Congrats to them. They are just on fire, absolutely on fire. Their team is just nuts. So good. So good. So congrats to them for being outright champions, for getting number 1 seed, first year in the WAC. Wow. Just
amazing.
Insane. Yeah, insane. So we're really excited for Vegas. And again, if you're going to Vegas, let us know. We are happy to meet with you, hang out, have a drink or 2 or 3 or 4 or ...
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? All right, guys. We will have fun and we'll miss you, Caitlin.
We wish you were with us.
I know. Hey, you can always still come.
Plenty of room.
Find a way there and you're a good place to stay. Oh, man. All right. Y'all have a wonderful night. It is Sunday, 10:13 Central Standard Time. So it is time for bed. This girl has work in the morning. I'm sure Jacqueline has work to do in the morning from home. So we are wrapping it up. Man, oh, man. Can't believe the season's already almost over.
Can't believe it. I really can't.
It flew. I feel like this season more than any of the other seasons, it flew by. So I know. All right. Y'all have a wonderful night. Stay warm. It's a crisp 36 degrees in East Texas. It is a chilly one. Have a good night. And as always, axe 'em jacks.
Without some jacks.